Well, we always talk about expanding the horizons of our children. Tonight, we're going to talk about a great program. The French exchange students are here in Milford, enjoying the center of the universe before they go back to that other little town, you know, Lyon, Paris, that other little place. Why don't we start with some introductions? Olivier, en português ou en français?
In Spanish.
Go ahead.
No. What I mean, I just want to say that I'm very happy to be here because I had an experience 10 years ago here in Boston, and I conserved a bad experience, bad souvenir of my stay. So I'm very happy, and I want to thank you for your home and for the stay, because you are very kind, and I appreciate the stays with the students and all of you. It's great.
Audrey?
Hi, I'm Audrey. I'm the French teacher, well, English teacher, sorry. And I'm in charge of the exchange. So it's the third time that I organized the exchange, so I'm very happy about that. I mean, the kids are so happy to be here, so do I. And as you said, we come in a town, but it's not a small one, it's a big one. The second biggest city, it's Lyon. Sorry, it's near the Alps. So here we are.
And somebody from home?
My name is Lydia Buckley, and I'm the French teacher here at Milford High School.
Madame?
Je peux parler en français? Non.
Oui.
Oui. Je peux essayer en anglais, mais donc moi je m'appelle Véronique Magnard et je suis professeure de PS. J'accompagne ma collègue. Voilà, donc je suis très très contente de l'expérience. Je n'étais jamais venue ici à Boston ou Milford, et je trouve que c'est vraiment très joli. La côte est très belle. Il manque juste un petit peu de chaleur.
She can do it in English. I'm sure.
But she's had a nice quiet visit, not the crazy life that you two have had living at my dysfunctional home.
Exactly. It's true.
My name is Todd Sawyer, and I am one of the host parents, and Veronique is staying with our family, and I would argue that she lives in a house of chaos, perhaps much like yours. We have 6 children and a couple of dogs, so she usually keeps the entire family up at night with trips down the stairs and the dogs barking. And, we greatly appreciate having her here, and we're enjoying her company.
My name is Imran Akaza, and we are hosting a French student, Bastien, who's sitting right next to me. We're happy to have him here. And I was just saying to my youngest daughter, who's sitting on the end over there, that when I dropped these two off this morning at school, I said, "Oh, look at them. I have twins. They're the same height, that's the same build." I'm like, "Oh, look, I have twins."
So I'm Bastien. I'm one of the French students. I'm very happy to be here in America because it's the first time I leave Europe. So, and it's really good to know about the culture of another continent and the United States.
I'm Bastien's host student, Taber Syed, and I was looking forward to having Bastien come over, and now that he's here, it's been a great experience. My day-to-day life is shared with him, and he gets to see how I live, and I'm not sure how he thinks that I live, if it's good or bad, or how his experience has been, but hopefully it's been good.
I'm Anaël, and I'm also a French student. I'm very happy to be here because America, it's the dream. And it's really interesting to see all the difference between France and America in school, for example. Yeah.
I'm Katie Cruz. I'm the person who's hosting Anaya.
Yeah, but you forgot her accordion.
I was very happy to host her, and she jumped right in the family. She fits right in with all of us, and it's been a lot of fun.
I concur. I'm also hosting Anael and Katie, and
has been very excited to have her be coming. And she has. She's come right in. She plays with the family. She played Frisbee with the dog. She argues with my husband. It's awesome. It's been really, really nice. And we do not want you to go. So hopefully it happens again.
And the spirit came through when she showed up, you showed up at the studio to watch your daughter and adopted daughter, and somehow we saw an arm pull out, and Mom, you're coming with me, and up on stage you went.
Yeah, she does that.
My name is Amir Sayed. I'm hosting Bastien. It's been a great pleasure. He's been put on the official chore chart, and I've been taken off, so I'm going to miss him when he's gone.
My name is Eliza Syed, and my family's hosting a French student, and it's been really interesting to learn about French and stuff.
And what grade are you in?
4th.
It must be wonderful to start so early with an exchange student. Does your brother let you play with him? Does he hide them all? Sort of. Lydia, I guess we'll start with you.
Sure.
From the American perspective, why are we doing this?
It's just so good for the kids to have this experience, and at first they're nervous, but then they realize, hey, yeah, there are differences, but there's so many similarities as well. And it opens up their eyes. Some of these kids have not had a chance to leave Milford, and so for them to see wow, there is a world outside of Milford, Massachusetts, the United States, it's nice. So, but then it also gets them excited to go back and visit.
Audrey.
Well, I teach English for a long time now, but I mean the kids, they're learning, and they know that now English is so important, especially in Europe. So I think it's very good that, okay, I teach English in class, but the good part is to practice. So I decided just to organize the trip so they can go abroad, and especially in the US, so they can practice their English, but not only they can make the difference between the culture, the civilization, and they can really enjoy. And I think that they really live their American dream. So, I mean, just look at them. We're so happy to be here. So I'm happy to. We're talking about globalization today, so I think it's a good point that exchange, and especially between the US and France, are really important. So I think it's a good thing, really.
And Olivier?
In France, I'm Spanish teacher, and I'm used to organize an exchange with Madrid, with another high school. And when she talked me about this exchange, I wanted to go with her in order to...
I didn't invite him. He just came.
I wanted to see to live a different experience and to see the differences about the organization, and see the differences between peoples, American people and Spanish people, and I realized the same thing. All people are the same all over the world, I think, and anyway, it's I'm sure it's a good experience for our students. Yeah.
Now, you got a special present for being here. Do you want to explain? Mother gave you a lunchbox.
Oh yes, please, we need to do that. Yeah, sure.
Do you want to explain his lunchbox?
Oh, for sure. It's got a wonderful lunchbox, and I think it really fits him. And it's with it's with a Hello Kitty box, and he's just crazy about his lunchbox. I know. I'm jealous. I wish I could have it.
We wanted to take a picture. As parents, you always take the first day of school.
Yeah.
And they're in their little backpack, and we wanted to get the Hello Kitty box, but somehow Olivier said no.
I got the picture. I got it.
No way.
It was so cute.
So, Bastien, you've been here a few days. What have you found? What did you enjoy the most?
I enjoyed going to high school because it's really different from our high school in France, like how the teachers will teach, how the classes go. I think here classes are just way it's way less strict. Like students can eat and drink in class. We can't do that.
But you get a much longer lunch break.
Yeah, here we have 25 minutes, and in France we have 1 or 2 hours. So I didn't really like the lunchtime.
And what did you find?
I don't really like go in high school because it was a little boring, but my favorite place was Salem, so we went to Salem today, and I think it is a really beautiful city, and we went to the museum, and the story of the witches was really interesting. Yeah.
My mother-in-law's there. I think she's the first witch on the left. At least I know her broom is there. They've memorialized her broom. From a host family standpoint, what do you see as the best benefit for you and your family?
I think the greatest benefit is having the children be able to try and communicate and learn about other cultures. I think as we become more global in our sharing through technology, I think it's very important for us to expose our children to things outside of Milford as well as outside of the United States. So just the very intimate discussions, if you will, about how the schooling is, how the families are, what type of activities the children participate in. I think it's very beneficial just to open their eyes to something that they normally wouldn't see.
From a mom's perspective?
Yes, so I truly did feel like I had an extra child. Although I would have to say he was a very good child. He did his chores. My children don't come when I call them, but he came. I think it's a good idea, for the children to be exposed to all, different cultures. And I think when you are together, you can see past the stereotypes. And so just one, simple example, because I pester Bastien so much with questions. I find out that the bus that they have taken in the morning, our buses are different than the buses that they take. He had made a comment that there's no seatbelt on our buses. I said, yep, there's no seatbelt. But he seemed to indicate that they have, better buses that are more like the kind, for example, that you go on Logan Express.
No, the coach buses.
Coach buses, yeah. So he says, oh yeah, your school bus is just like what we see on TV. So that stereotype, unfortunately, wasn't broken. That's a real thing. But, for us to know, I didn't know that they didn't have yellow school buses, so that
Everywhere in the world, there's not a yellow.
I just assumed there was a yellow school bus picking children up, but I guess not.
Yep.
And how about from a little sister point of view?
Well, it's kind of weird because there's an extra person in our house to handle stuff. Yeah, that's kind of it.
I would have welcomed, I lived in an estrogen palace. I would have welcomed the boy, just to have an ally. And what do you find the biggest benefit for the family?
Well, we're all behaving better. Fighting less, so that's always a benefit. But it's always nice, my son has 2 sisters, so it's nice.
So he has an ally.
He has kind of an ally, so that's good. And Bastien speaks English really well. All credit to the teacher.
He has a good teacher.
And a modest one, too.
Of course. I'm French,
He speaks really well. I'm really impressed. And he knows a lot about American culture and about American music, we were playing Journey's "Don't Stop Believing," and he knew all the words and everything. So I told him it's our national.
That's the one sung by a Filipino lead singer
Yeah,
now,
that's
right?
right, that's right.
Talking about American culture.
That's right. And it's just little, conversations here and there. Nothing too focused, but just casually interacting with each other. And like we said, just seeing past the stereotypes and learning how close we are to each other and learning about each other's histories. That's always been good. So
Yeah, we tried to expose our two new family members to American culture. My daughter has to see penguins. 28 years old, and she still gets excited about penguins. So off we went to the aquarium. She got into the gift shop, and she picks this thing up and yells, "It's so fuzzy!" And they're looking at her like, huh? Now, how do you describe a minion? You're trying to explain to them. It came out of Despicable Me, the Minions. They didn't understand Minions, so we had to go get the movie. And it shows you, as you get to my age, you're sitting there saying, I am kind of lucky, because there I am with my mother, my sainted mother, my darling bride, my ungrateful offspring, right? All on a Saturday night, and we're watching Despicable Me and laughing.
We
So-
were. I said we were.
Yeah.
And since you had to be on stage, what are you seeing as the best benefit for your family?
I think the whole thing it's just been good right from the start. My oldest son is home, and he shared the benefit of his wisdom, and my husband and my husband is always getting her. He made her watch Gunsmoke.
Good.
Yeah, Gunsmoke, and he wanted her to get up and draw. At the beginning, but she didn't. Which is probably good.
I feel his pain. I lived in an estrogen palace. I never could get those things past anybody.
She did. She drew, but not as quickly. And my other son came home from college. He goes in Salem, so he came home specifically to meet her. It was just having an extra family member, and everyone was welcoming, and she's been welcoming. She hasn't looked, well, she looked at my husband like this a couple times, but it was well-deserved.
Don't you laugh. You're always siding with mother.
It works, that's one of the things I liked best. She wasn't afraid to say what she meant, and if she thought he was being a doof, she let him know he was being a doof. It was great.
It was the look, the doof look, was it en français? Is there a different French doof
It's
look?
universal. It's universal. Everyone knows.
And how about you? What do you think is the best benefit of the exchange program?
To me, it's just the fact that you're getting a new friend and new member of the family to share your experiences with, and to learn about another culture, and while also picking up a few words, I guess.
Et pour vous?
I was very happy to be in this family because they were very, very nice with me. Yes, and it was interesting because there are similarities but also difference. For example, the time of the dinner.
Oh, yes. We had that discussion. The hardest thing I had to get used to when I went to Paris was it's 5 o'clock. I'm hungry. We showed up at the restaurants. They looked and said, lunch is closed. And then after 4 years in Paris, I come home, it's 10 o'clock. I want to go eat dinner. All the restaurants in Milford are closed.
And yeah.
And the food is okay for you?
Yeah, the food is okay.
And Olivier, you had the biggest experience. You come to America to speak Portuguese.
Yes, it's true. With your mother, yes. I speak a little bit Portuguese too, and it was great because when you contact me by email, you started by English. Hello, I present you my family, and in pictures, your family, and but I knew you were from Portugal because of your name, Alcorrea. So I thought you.
You wrote
was
back
able
in
to-
Portuguese.
Yeah, it's okay. But I have to improve my English. I'm not a English teacher, so I'm like my students. I have to improve it and realize that when we are on place, we realize our capacity to speak. Because this is important for them, because when they are in the classroom, very often they don't realize their linguistic capacity. And when they travel, they do the exchange, and they are starting to speak with the family, and they realize they can say many things, you know. So it's great.
Now, Audrey,
Yeah.
you teach proper English
I do.
in France.
I do.
Now you come here.
Yes.
Do you learn new words?
Not really, actually. But I learn a lot of new things. I mean, each time I come in the US, it's a new experience. And each time I think we go abroad, we learn a lot of things. So it's why I tell the kids that it's really important to travel, because you learn so many things. I mean, just look at them. They just interact so well. So it's a good human adventure. So you learn this, but you learn vocabulary for the kids and new culture, new traditions. So I think it's really important.
Lydia, the program. Walk us through. What is the program?
We got contacted 3 years ago from Carousel Tours, so we use a tour company to help organize our trips, and they said, hey, would your school be interested in hosting? And so we said, yeah, definitely, and we found the families that first year, and Audrey came over, and other teachers came with her as well, so she brings 2 different teachers with her each year that she comes, and as she said earlier, this is the 3rd year that she's come. We also went to France last year, so we were able to get a group together to go to Lyon once, and we're looking to go back next year. I think Tabish is definitely interested, and Katie, right? Good. So it looks like we're going to have the kids to go back.
And how many kids?
Well, in Milford, French is not the language of choice always. So we have a smaller department to work with, a smaller number of kids. We were able to take 10 kids the first time we went, but just asking the kids, hey, how many people are thinking about going next year? And it looked like at least 15 were interested. So that would definitely be enough to get the trip to go. Audrey, on the other hand, they had 27 kids come this year. So
I mean, everyone to come here.
Everybody wants to come to Milford.
Exactly. That's true. Yeah, really.
It's a good location. I mean, you know, they get a taste of the suburbs, life outside of the city, but then Boston is so close as well.
And a typical night. Qu'est-ce que tu fais à nuit?
I sleep. Yeah, I try in English.
Yes, good.
It was great for me because I look at the school. The high school is very different. I'm a sport teacher, and here the equipment is very, very good. Big equipment, and a student make 4 hours by week, and in France it's just 2 hours. So. It's very different, but when I look at, I don't know how to say, au cours,
The classes.
at the
Classes.
yes, I was surprised because in France it's very different. We have 35 students by class, and they all made the same thing, the same sport. And it's more
Choices? They have more choices?
Well, but is there more than
no,
football?
Of course, come on.
No football. We don't make football.
Well,
But,
soccer, you know.
Badminton.
No, badminton. We made gymnastics. We made swimming. Sorry, athleticism.
Tracks.
Tracks.
Como é
Yes.
possível para o futebol?
No.
Why not have soccer in France?
Because many students played football out of the.
Oh, okay.
So at school we prefer to make another sport.
Okay.
There's a main difference between the French system and the American system. Sport is not as important in France. And here the kids are so amazed and impressed concerning the equipment that you may have, the stadium, the tracks. We don't have this in France. I mean, sport is not as important as here, really. We don't have that culture of sport.
No, but you have some good teams. The French
We
soccer
do.
team is
Yeah.
pretty impressive.
Yes, indeed.
But it's different from school. It's,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
that's the
separate.
difference.
We practice sport outside the school.
yeah.
We have clubs. We don't do it at school, really.
Yeah. But at school it's very different because comment on dit mettre des notes we
Great.
grades. Well, I think many children don't do sport out of the school, so we want to give us culture of sport, and I think it's very, very different.
Did any of the kids, Bastien, did you get to see any sports here?
Here, I saw the cross with a sport with
Lacrosse?
Yeah.
Children with sticks? Yes. Yes, when my daughter picked up the stick, I said, okay, I'm going to be nice today. And you, Bastien, did you have a chance to see any sports?
I saw Tabish playing tennis, and I also saw the lacrosse game. Lacrosse seemed very complicated.
I don't know, when I went to pick up Bastien from the lacrosse game, it was the girls playing. I had a hard time.
Well, that may not be for the lacrosse. Okay. When you say there's differences, other day, what is the biggest difference class-wise? You know, when the students go, I mean, my daughter, when she went to Paris to see friends and went to school for 2 weeks there, all she could remember is they had 2 hours for lunch.
Yes, that's a good part of it. But actually, the schedule is quite different. In France, most of the kids start at 8 in the morning to finish at 5 or 6 in high school. So they have generally 1 hour lunch. And the class, it's 1 hour, and you don't drink, you don't move, you just listen to the teacher as if he was or she was the goddess of the school. It's very different.
It's like here, right?
So it's more, I think, academic. I mean, yeah, there's a big difference in that sense. And the relation between the teachers and the kids, I mean, the students are more formal. When I see here, and all the French kids as well told me that the relationship between teachers and students are more casual and it's easier.
No, definitely.
Tell me if I'm wrong,
No, you're
Nadia,
absolutely
but
right.
I think so.
I think for in France, it's almost more like what we think of at university, where
Yeah.
there's that little bit of a distance.
Monsieur
Yeah.
Professeur.
Yeah,
You know, you
yeah.
would never think
Oh.
like my daughter referring to Joey B and the
Oh, right,
guitar.
right. No, no. And one thing, it always kills me, whenever the bell rings at the end of class,
No
the
way.
guys always like to the other teachers, watch this, because all the Americans just get up at the bell and leave, but in France, it just wouldn't, you would get dismissed by the teacher.
You
So,
wouldn't
yeah.
just get up and leave till the professor says you may?
No way.
Right.
Bastian's in there saying, no.
No. He knows what happened if he's doing that.
I see the difference my own student can notice when they go to Madrid as well, because the relationship between teachers and students is quite similar to the American relationship, yes. And each year it surprised them the same way.
But do they have the long lunches too?
It's even worse.
No.
So the French children go to school till 5 or 6 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Ooh la la.
Yes.
It's a long day for them.
And then they have homework.
Yes,
Yes.
in France we
Yes.
do.
But we have a lot of holiday.
That's true as well. Yes, we have many breaks. We've got a break. We've got a week break in autumn, then 2 weeks for Christmas, 2 weeks in February, 2 weeks for Easter, and then 2-month vacation in summertime. So that's
nice.
different, yeah. But I'm not sure that there is a better system than the other. I mean, it's two different systems, and you know.
I think after 2 weeks, if we went back to school, we'd be like, oh, start fresh.
Now, if I remember right, students at the end of high school in France take a comprehensive exam.
Yes.
And like here we take SATs, ACTs, LMNOPs, you know, but you're not necessarily forced into a role. You know, and I remember friends of mine, their children were very, very concerned about doing well, because that got them into their career.
It's what we call the French baccalaureate. So it's at the end of the year, it's in June, and it's very stressful for the students because if they don't pass that exam, they can't go to university. So for them, it's really important, but it's very stressful as well because it's kind of hard. I mean, they had to brush up a lot, so and it's in every subject. So yes, it's very stressful. I mean, you can ask the kid. It's something that they think of very often.
So they take that the senior year, the final
Exactly.
year?
Yes, the final year. It's the final exam.
And that, I mean, here you take your final exam, your SATs, but it's not mandatory that you will only go to this school or, I mean, some schools, like where I went to Holy Cross, they don't even demand that you take SATs anymore.
No, it's mandatory in France. You need to have it. I mean, if you don't have your baccalaureate, you can't study, really. So it's why they got a lot of pressure under the shoulder of the kids, because they know they had to pass it. Otherwise, you know, they had to repeat the year. And most of them don't want to do that.
Is that similar to our MCAS?
Well, but the MCAS for these kids, they're used to taking it periodically. They take it in 10th grade or depending on what the subject is. And they do have chances to take it again.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's as high stakes. I almost feel like it's a combination of, say, the MCAS and the SATs together. But more than that, too. It's I don't know if we've seen it yet, but in one of the classes we'll watch videos of the kids when they get their results for the baccalaureate. And it's just interesting to see, like, they go to those, you know, the posted, you know, lists to see if their name or their number is on it. And for us, that just seems so different, so scary, so.
But does that help you get into a certain school in France?
To every school.
Every school.
I mean, if you don't have that French baccalaureate, you can't go on for your studies. So
it
you
ends
can
high school and it gets you into college. So
Exactly.
it's like, yeah.
But it's the same with us. If you don't graduate high school,
But it's almost then like their diploma too. Do you see
exactly.
what I mean?
That's their diploma. Yes. And they've got grades, and depending the grades they have, they can have honors on it or not. So the better grades you have, I mean, they could after reach a good university. So no, it's really, really important for them to have it.
And there's oral parts of the exam too.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Yes.
And that's a big difference for like our kids
Yeah.
where they don't really do those types of exams.
Yes.
How does that work?
Actually, you've got the written part, and after, later on, it's the beginning of July, you've got the oral part, and it's mostly for the French, well, actually it's French, foreign languages, but maths and science. So they had to speak in front of a teacher for 10 minutes.
And they
or
don't know the
20
teacher.
sometimes, and yeah, they don't know the teacher
at a
because
different-
it's
yeah.
outside the school. It's not in our high school. They had to go in another high school with other teachers. So it's so stressful for them. But most of them just, you
but
know.
do they get to pick people who speak French, not Parisian?
I won't even answer that.
I mean, after 4 years, I still could not speak French well enough that you could see the Parisians. But as soon as I got out to the country, all of a sudden, they were real French people. They weren't Parisians. If I didn't know the word, they would help me.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking about it. It's like so many of us go to Paris, so we say we know France. It's like if somebody said I went to New York City and I know
Yeah.
America, you know, we would all cringe. Because would you assume that anybody knew America if they only went to New York City?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, we got the same thing. I mean, even for the French people, I mean, the Parisian people, we don't really like them because they're snobbish, and no, we don't really like them. And in France, it's very funny because when we're on vacation, France is divided in 3 parts. It means that for Easter break, for example, not all France is on vacation in the same time, okay? France is divided in 3 parts. And as soon as we got the date of vacation, we just look and say, we pray and say, we hope we are not with the Parisian because it's a nightmare being with them. So
See,
it's true, isn't it?
I loved Paris in August when we were living there,
There's no
because all the
There's no
Parisians
Paris.
went to the sea.
Exactly.
So all of a sudden, there was no Parisians in Paris. It was wonderful. So now, will your family go to Paris or to Lyon?
So we've actually been to Paris. So my husband works for a company that has offices everywhere. And one year, they were sending him for 5 weeks.
Oh.
And at that time, I only had Tabish, and he was about 3.5. And so we had gone. He had said to his company, you know, either I come back every weekend, or maybe you can pay for their plane tickets, and you know, because the company's going to put him up at, you know, whatever residence that they own over there. So it was quite nice. We were in the 16th arrondissement, and we also got to stay in another place that was across from where the French Open was.
They're in the
held.
low rent, 16th arrondissement, the low rent. I would have been put in Pigalle, you know, at Blanche. It's very simple.
But you know, I'm not sure how much of that Tabish remembers. And then we didn't really travel outside of Paris, outside of going to Euro Disney, which is really not so great. But
You're right. It's just American. We go to France to see Euro Disney. Yes.
And so, you know, I think, and we never made it out, you know, of Paris all those weeks. I would just spend my time traveling around. But I think it would be nice to visit, you know, another place besides Paris. Although I didn't have a bad experience. I thought the people were very nice, considering I actually know 0 French. My husband came home from work one day. It's like 6 o'clock, and we weren't at the apartment. And there's no cell phones back then. So he's like, I don't know where my wife and my 3-year-old are. He didn't know what to do.
And you better be worried about the wife and the 3-year-old. If you're only worried about the 3-year-old, you're in deep trouble.
I was worried about both.
Yeah, there you go. Good answer.
So he was, I was coming out of one of the train stations. I just came up the stairs, turned around, was walking down the sidewalk, and he's like walking on the sidewalk in a daze, like he didn't know what to do, you know. He was like, where were you? Oh my goodness. But you know, I had a great time. The people were very helpful there, and I just hope that I'm able to show the kids as well, you know.
I was gonna say, I find it amazing. The friends of mine who loved Paris were from New York City. Because they said the people are just as cold, just as rude. You know, the rest of us liked getting out. The minute we left Paris, you know, like we'd go up to Honfleur or Deauville, the people were friendly. It was nice. I could try and speak French and nobody would laugh at me or sneer at me. But then again, when I went to Montreal, I got a humbling lesson in how little French I knew. Couldn't understand a dang word of their French.
Neither do we. I mean.
So you're going to go to France next year?
Yeah.
Could you steal a microphone?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, definitely. I would probably fight for it. So.
You're going to drag your mother like you dragged her on stage?
Probably, yeah.
That'd be cool. I remember second semester junior year with my oldest when the estrogen war started. You know, my darling bride would be really mean to my daughter, come home and say like, hello, and immediately my daughter would blow up. What do you mean by that? You know, it's like, how can you be so mean as to say hello to your daughter? And they decided the only thing for bonding they could agree on is going to Paris. So the two of them went off and went shopping, and for a little while it worked. So it'd be cool to take your mom.
Kinda.
Have you changed your daily routine?
No, we have not made any changes. I mean, Bastian's fit right into what we're doing. I usually pick up the kids around the time that they come back from their trips. And he has had to, even though he says he gets hungry around 8, we get hungry around 6. So, and he's a very nice kid, and he's accommodated that. So no changes here.
Have you had any new food experiences, Bastien?
I had mac and cheese. Yeah, I think a lot of American food we have in France is only like fast food, like McDonald's and things. So yeah, I had new things.
Well, Olivier learned about a special American delicacy, peanut butter.
Oh, yeah.
Audrey was whipping up the peanut butter on the English muffin, and Olivier's kind of staring, saying, "Qu'est-ce que c'est ça?" You know, what are you doing? So she forced him to eat peanut butter.
Yes, I wanted to test.
But he loved it, actually.
Yeah, this morning he went for first.
Yeah, I was looking for a peanut butter jar, but I couldn't find it. It was just having it, so, you know.
And have you made any changes to your daily routine?
We haven't changed our schedule at all. And like I said, we have many children in the house, so we have a number of activities. I think one of the most interesting things for Veronique and I to discuss is the difference in perhaps career culture, the number of hours that Americans work, and perhaps how committed we are and how married we are to our careers and professions. The television is typically not on. However, the television is on all the time in our house. The number of video games. It was really interesting to learn about a different perspective on how we connect together, not just as individuals, but as families and as people. And I found that having spent a good portion of my life married to my career to achieve the American dream and have the biggest house and the nicest cars and to have my children not want for anything and always wanting to have the next generation have more and be better, I find in a bit of an older age in having discussions with Veronique that perhaps here in America we've lost some of our focus on the things that are truly valuable. And when you hear things about an hour or two for lunch, perhaps for the kids to connect with one another, I think, wow, that's amazing. I hear about how much holiday or vacation time they have and the number of hours that they work. Now, the economy may not be as robust as the United States. However, I did find that the lifestyle and the human connection and the importance to connecting with family and students and their culture was far more appealing than perhaps my eyes had been open to.
I remember the first time we tried moving somebody from our offices in France, and when they came here and they said, "Deux semaines, trois semaines, vacation," and you don't take it all? I can't remember the French word for barbarian, but I remember to them, it was like, that's not possible. You know, you really don't have 2 or 3 weeks and not take it all. And I kept thinking, let's see, I've taken 4 days this year.
My kids right now, the older kids, are studying this, and the question that they were answering, do you live to work or work to live? And just how the perspectives are different. And here it is, it's like, oh, what can I put on my resume? And how can I get that job satisfaction? And sometimes you give up life satisfaction for the job in the United States. So it kind of makes you think, it makes you think twice about, gee, what are we doing?
Well, and I think today especially, when I coached, I was amazed at how many people. Now, when there's single parents, be it mother or father, I don't know how they keep up. I don't know how you keep up with 6. We had 2, and it was 3. My mother, my darling bride, and I against 2, and we barely kept up. I don't know how you'd keep up with 6, but you'd see how many parents just dropped off their kids, and off they'd go. And then you start wondering, when you look at some of the nursing homes, and I can see single parents, because I don't know how they can do everything anyway, but when you had a full family, I start to understand why they teach their children that they can be warehoused, because basically they're using the kids for free, or the sports for free babysitting. So in that point, we've been blessed that even soccer was always the great unification system. When somebody new moved to Milford, you met everybody by playing soccer or standing on the sidelines watching them play soccer. You know, or baseball or football or whatever other sport. Tamesh, what are you looking forward to when you go to France?
Not the Parisians.
He's learned something already.
Well, well, we're going back to Lyon, so it's kind of going to be interesting for comparing the experience that Bastien had here to the experience that I'm going to have over there. And I'm not looking forward to the classes either because they said they were strict, and I'm kind of loose in my classes. I don't really want to be repressed like that in France. But the lunch, I'm a slow eater, so I'm going to take full advantage of the 1 to 3 hour lunches.
You will love it.
And then the gym classes will be nice.
You
And
looked up his school, right?
oh yeah,
And they had a rock climbing wall.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, the French girls.
Look at this, look at her.
Should I scooch a little closer?
But now, as you look all over, how would you describe Lyon compared to Milford? C'est petit, c'est grand.
Well, Lyon is pretty big in the sense that it's the second biggest city in France. Well, or the third, there is a kind of battle between Marseille. But because I'm from Lyon.
Do you count Marseille? That's-
Which city? Marseille? No.
No, I mean, I keep hearing from people up north, Marseille, Algerie. Yeah.
Okay, so let's come back to Lyon. And no, I think it's more, I don't know how to express, but it's more urban maybe. I mean, if you want to go to the countryside, you need to take your car and drive a lot. But, and we've got subway, underground, we've got trolleys. I think it's a little bit different. And of course, because the streets, are smaller, so it looks tiny, I mean, just because it's the way it is. I don't know, Lydia, maybe you can compare as well, because you went to Lyon last
Well,
year.
how big is Lyon in people?
Oh, it's almost...
Around 450,000.
So it's more the size of Boston.
I think it's, yeah, kind of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's different because the Lyon and just near there's Villeurbanne, another town, and when we see the town, it's very big.
Yeah.
It's kind of
And it's
spread.
More
It's,
than 1 million.
Yes,
But
1
just
million.
the city,
Yes.
only for 450,000.
But it feels like Boston. We?
Yes, I
Kind of.
think.
Kind of a-
yes.
Around.
But it's older than Boston.
Well,
and this-
all of Europe is old.
Yes, and so it's very different. You have the old town and around.
I always
the
love when
town.
people come from Europe and they go to the old North Church. Is Terson? Oh, it's 200 years old. And the people from Europe look and say, yeah, we have a garage that old.
No, but what Veronique said, it's true. I think it's typically European. You've got the old downtown and the new downtown with, old because we've got cobblestone and it's there is that kind of same
Middle Age.
spirit, yeah. And you've got all the tiny restaurants, and then you've got what we call the new era. It would be where offices are, train station maybe. So
Like a CDEX area or?
yeah, kind of, yes, yeah.
So we would call office parks.
Yeah.
It really is just like if you've ever been in any European city, it's just that different feeling. And it's when the kids went, they loved it. And you just feel so little when you look up at the big buildings, the cathedral, and it's amazing. It really is a great place. This year, Audrey and her kids made videos to bring back and show us. So we were getting to see some clips of Lyon, and it was neat for the kids to see that.
Well, you'll have a video to take back with you, Bastien.
We were jealous, actually.
If somebody was to ask you, a student, should they participate, what would you tell them? Should they participate in the French exchange program?
Yeah, definitely, yes.
And they say, why?
Well, it's been a lot of fun. I think it's worth all the time because, again, you get a new member of your family and a new friend to talk to, you know.
I can say we were always part of the Spanish program. You know, and I'll admit, I did not sign up for the French program. Miss Lydia went to my daughter and said, we need a place for 2 chaperones. I love my daughter's answer, call my father.
Yep.
Not
that's
call my
exactly
mother. It was call my father. He never says no. It's, But the Spanish program, when the kids were in school, it was just yesterday, I still got an email, and the girl is 26 years old,
Oh, wow.
from the girl who stayed with us. She really did become part of our family, and every holiday over Christmas and everything else.
Yeah. That's the goal, I mean, of the exchange. 3 years ago, we were here, and this summer, some American kids that took part in the exchange 3 years ago came in France this summer or last winter. So that's the goal, to keep in touch and for a long period of time. I mean, it's what it is about. It's not only about language, but about human relationship as well.
Yeah, Olivier wanted to know about cars. What did he say? He's now an American. He was reading the paper at dinner. Because when the first night, he couldn't believe that I like reading the paper
Yes,
at dinner.
I'm not used to it was very funny. Yeah.
That and having 11 TVs in the house.
I know, yeah.
You know, because we have this debate every night when my darling bride has to watch baseball or hockey or whatever sport is on.
Yeah.
And we have to debate which TV we all fight for. And you sit there and say, I told him, I said, there's 11 in the house. You can pick one. It's not a problem. Final words, what would you say to people?
Come to Lyon.
Yeah, absolutely. I would encourage people in the community to participate, perhaps volunteer any way that they can. I think it's a great experience, and we had never thought about the program before. Much like you, I live in a estrogen-filled home that received a phone call. My daughter is not a French student, and they said you are going to have either a student or a teacher residing with you. But it's opened our eyes, and we're actually looking at participating in the exchange program with the students who are coming next year. So I think it's just a great experience to be able to have that human interaction with different cultures. I would recommend for everybody.
I would definitely, I'm looking forward to my son actually, going and participating. I just remember, my family didn't host anybody, but I do remember the exchange students coming to my high school. I grew up in New Jersey mostly, and I have since gotten in touch with some of those students that I went to school with, and some of them had hosted the French exchange students or the Japanese exchange students, and I see that some of them are still in touch with them because I see the pictures of the exchange student. Now they're older, they're married themselves, and they stay in touch. So I think that's something definitely to look forward to. It's just, I think it's a bond that you kind of develop, and I'm not sure that the kids necessarily appreciate it at this age, but I think once they get older, they'll look back that, they'll realize how good of an experience it was.
Yeah, we learned this weekend that Audrey found a little home called Rosecliffs down in Newport, where she decided that's where she's going to get married.
Wow.
So we're taking back some memories. And Bastien, qu'est-ce que tu dis à fin? At the end of the day, what do you tell people?
Yeah, I would recommend it too because it's really interesting to know about the other culture, and you get to know a lot of new people, Americans and also French students, because in the group I didn't know everybody. I didn't know Anaël, and now I think we're friends, so it's cool to know other people, even if they live next door to us, we don't really know them.
So you had to come 5,000 kilometers to meet your next door neighbor. And our tennis friend here. Besides the girls, what else would you say to people?
Well, there's really no downside to hosting a student. You get an extra family member, and there's like there's this extra pair of eyes at home watching you, making sure you're doing what's right, like your chores and whatnot. So it's productive all around. And there's really just, it's like another friend it's like a friend that has completely different background, and you can just experiment and see how they were raised, how they grew up, and what their ideas are. And it's interesting to see how the cultures can combine and mix, and we can get the most out of the experience.
And besides having a place to play your accordion, what?
Yes, I think this travel is interesting because in class we can have a dictionary, for example, to search a word, and here we are just alone. We can't. So yes, sometimes it was difficult for me to tell something, but yes, we have to find ways and.
Lydia, wrapping it up, what would you leave as the final words for the night?
I just want to say thank you to all the families in Milford. We've found homes for 30 people, and it's 90 kids who take French. So it's just been awesome, and just hearing these kids speak up here, that's what it's all about.
And as always, to our 6 loyal viewers and a couple now extra from across the pond, this is another thing that our schools do to help our kids. You know, we've always said the real judge of the education your children get are the people outside of Milford. You know, whether we believe the school system is great or terrible, my daughters got into every college they applied to, every one they wanted to go to. So to me, that tells me that the academics are well served. And having cultural exchange programs where Olivier learns that you can eat peanut butter on an English muffin, that it's okay to have a newspaper when you want to eat. You don't have to, but you can. And it's cool to have a Hello Kitty mailbox or lunchbox. But as always, thanks for joining. Thanks for our 6 loyal viewers for watching. May God bless, and may tomorrow be a better day than today. Good night, all.
Not too long since I've been home.